Hello.
Oh, I guess I'm doing this intro. Oh yeah, it's my turn.
It's
Hello,
your turn.
everybody. Welcome back to Divine Discussions, Madison and Carly. It's episode 6.
6.
Yes, on limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs, things that we all have, what we've all gone through, and a little bit about our stories, I guess, with it. Limiting beliefs. So, like, obviously, these are beliefs in ourselves,
Yeah.
that hold us back and keep us small and make us feel not so nice about ourselves. So, what is like your journey with limiting beliefs, Madison? Like, when did you start noticing maybe you even had them? What have you dealt with and struggled with in the past? What you still do struggle with?
Oh, baby. Let's get into it. So many. I think I started to realize I had limiting beliefs 4 years ago, maybe. Whenever I started network marketing. So yeah, like about 4 years ago. Because I was starting to go down the personal development journey and I started to realize what was holding me back and a lot of other things. I started to have more self-realizations of even what things had been happening, reoccurring things, patterns that I was going through in the past. So I realized that I have limiting beliefs around worthiness for love, worthiness for making the amount of money I want to make, worthiness for, yeah, those two things.
Wow. Yeah, it's super relatable. Do you know like where it comes from? Like for most people, I think not a lot of people maybe are aware that they even have them or they feel stuck for some reason and not even aware that it is a belief around a certain thing, right? Like, is there anything that like what you know where it came from? Probably childhood or like past or things like that, right?
Yes. So my lack of worthiness for love belief comes from when I was very, very young, when I didn't have a biological dad. He was gone. He was left. Well, actually my mom left him, but I didn't know any of the situation. I didn't know the story. I was just a little kid that didn't have a dad, and I felt like I didn't have a male figure to love me.
Mm. Wow.
So growing up, I didn't understand why everybody else had two parents that loved them so much. And don't get me wrong, I was so loved. I had so much love around me, but when you don't know something, it creates confusion, and then that can lead to limiting beliefs, right? So um a big thing too is I have a sister where we have the same biological dad but different moms. And he's still in contact with her and not me. And I didn't understand all the backstory to everything. So I felt like that's where my limiting belief around worthiness came from, is why does he see her but not me? Is she better than me?
Mm. Wow. And then I assume it seeps into like present day and like situations. And I think being aware of it is key, right? When you start to realize maybe it seeps into, I'm not saying this to you specifically, but like if having that kind of situation where I'm sure a lot of people have, it can seep into your like present day relationships, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you subconsciously don't think that you're good enough. So you end up choosing just maybe shit people to date in your life, just for an example, right? Little things like that can trickle into the present day, because of actually that's not a little thing, that hits home a little bit. I actually didn't even really know that about you, so that's really good. I'm getting to know you a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Wow, you've come a long way, and I'm so happy that you're like fully aware of everything and like understanding hopefully that any kind of lack of self-worth maybe stems from that. And
Mm-hmm.
that is just a limiting belief you put yourself in and ends up being just kind of bullshit by the end of the day, that.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, everything you just said, bang on. I dated people, I went through things, and also like ended up, I've talked about before, I had like a cocaine addiction and all sorts of things. And I was definitely like, had lots of guy friends in times. And it was all in search of, love. And I didn't understand why until, Yeah, like about 4 years ago, I started to really have those in-depth realizations of like, oh, this all stems back from when you're a child, and this is actually so fucking irrelevant. You are so worthy. This
Mhm.
is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so many things with this. It's just these beliefs. I find that what's the word? I learned this the other day that like having a belief, whether good or bad, because we believe in it, we find outer things to validate it no matter what. So if you think
Mhm.
you're worthless, you will always be paying attention to things that validate that, right? And you're, see, I am a victim. See,
Mhm.
shit always happens to me. Or, oh yeah, it's just me. I just have bad luck. It's happening. This always happens to me, and then you have that kind of language. And then it keeps you in that state of the self-limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So I was told once to validate the good. So if like you think, oh, you can't make a lot of money, let's just say, for example, money mindset, it's like you're validating yourself because of your past and all the bullshit. But if you can actually find proof that people just like you are making shit tons of money who are less qualified than you, and that's proof right there, that is like you want to always validate proof that you can instead of
Yes.
validating the shit that keeps happening. But our brains, I think, like look for the things that we are focusing on and the energy we focus on. So instead of focusing on the bad, how about we focus on the good? But
Yeah.
it's so hard to get to that place. But like, it's cool that our brains can do that. You know what I mean? So for example, it's like when you are thinking, let's just if I say like a red Jeep, Madison, like a
Yeah.
red Jeep, you see that now. You'll always see it, you pay attention to it, you never noticed it before, but you're putting energy and focus to it, right? So all of a sudden they're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the things like our belief systems that we have, or certain things that we, yeah, put thought and energy into, if that makes sense.
Yep. That is so, so on point. It's like whatever we focus on, we're gonna see more of in any area of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for you, what are some of the limiting beliefs that you have?
Oh honey, lots. Lots, because we're all human. um oh god, I think it was just my, yeah, lack of, it always comes back down to self-worth, doesn't it? And like you always, I think, have to lose it a little bit in order to gain it back full force, if you choose to come back for full force. um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just remember I had a really crazy childhood. I don't think many people know this about me, but it's where I had a really toxic environment in my home, where like my father got into many accidents, like freak accidents. He got electrocuted once, got into like two car accidents. It was a lot of mental illness in my home, and it was always constant walking on eggshells around usually him and his mood. um, just a lot of really bad memories, some really good ones too, but overall, like, it was just shit. And I remember getting kicked out when I was 16 years old for doing
Oh.
nothing. This is like literally doing nothing. He kicked my older brother out when he was 16, and then he kicked out me with his reasons for him and his mental illness. Won't get into it. Love you,
Mm.
dad. I do. We're really good now. But I think a lot of that kind of stuck with me. Like he was never really around, that kind of thing. Goes back to daddy issues, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, I love my mom as well, but at the time she was dealing with, having to not only take care of three kids and a home with no money, but also her husband, who was kind of more or less falling apart. And so that was of the parental figures I had. There was not, let's just say, attention necessarily on me. Like you just kind of had to walk around everything going on. Like I grew up really fast.
Mhm.
And I started finding ways to control things more the older I got, like in relationships, and um, in shitty partners as well. And, just there's just so many things that came through my childhood into my adult life that I had to get rid of. But it was a lot of finding my way back to myself. And it's not easy because I still have, shitty things that follow me. The self worth of, maybe not enough attention from the parents, or whatever it may be. Maybe I'm still working on it, but I feel like I've really grown from that and understanding, a lot of people have shit like childhoods, and parents are also just kind of people who maybe just have a really crappy circumstance and they didn't know what we know now. So yeah, like self-worth has been a big one. The way I looked was always a thing for me when I was younger. I always thought I was not like good enough, not attractive enough. I thought I was fat for a long time, and that is ridiculous. I look at photos of myself now and I'm like, I thought I was fat. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I am ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But I was so like blinded by my limiting beliefs that I couldn't see past the insecurities that I had or the comparison of all of it. So that's kind of a big, all of that for me. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I we can relate so deeply, I feel, and I think so many people go through such similar things and it's just not really talked about. Like we come on social media and we talk about all the positive things and we talk about, how we got where we are and yeah, we had struggles and this and that, but we don't really get deep, real and raw into where it all stems from.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
almost always stems from childhood.
Yeah. Everything when you think about it, all the trauma, all the things. Um, what are some ways that we can have better beliefs in ourselves? Is there anything that you can think of?
Well, affirmations right away. Affirmations, saying what you want instead of what you don't want, and retraining your brain because when something that really helped me was doing meditations and like hypnosis.
Okay.
Hypnosis is something that's really helped me with limiting beliefs, to just literally just remove it, not forget about it or anything like that, but just go, I see you and I can actually just release it now.
No.
So that's something super powerful is to and really a good idea to look into is hypnosis. But like something so simple as affirmations. We've talked about this before, right? It's just simply saying, "Okay, I believe I can. I know that I can. I am worthy. I am worthy." Write it everywhere. Say it. Scream it.
Yell it, wake up to it, put on your feeling. Yeah, I think that's good. It kind of always goes back to the same self-development tools that we have in our back pockets, right? That work. Um, yeah, I think a big part of it is just, I think honestly, I did this like really intense breath work class in Bali, and it was the first one I've ever gone to. I didn't really know what breath work was. I thought it was just breathing in and out and going deep and whatever. I didn't really know. And I just got like walked by in this festival. I walked through, and this guy was like, "Do you want to come in?" And I'm like, "All right, I'll say yes to everything right now." I was in a really say yes phase, still am. And it was an hour and a half of intense breath work. And I'm sure that if people watching this, they can do your research, look it up. But by the end of it, I was like sobbing and crying and not knowing why. And I felt heavy after, and I felt released, and I felt just in my body, because I feel like we have a disconnect sometimes from our mind and our bodies, right? And
Yes.
our bodies hold trauma, and so sometimes things will react and we don't know why, like anxiety attacks or things that come up because of one thing that happened before is coming up again and we don't know. And then our bodies are like, they recognize it, right? They hold on to that stuff. So breathwork was a big part of letting go of that body's trauma that's been really stuck deep down. And I felt broken open, and I felt like kind of another version of myself. Like, no joke, I walked out of there feeling a lot lighter of a human, and realizing some old things came up from childhood, from family, from parents, that I was like, am I not over this shit yet? What is going
Yeah.
on? But giving myself grace, and being like, that's okay that that is coming up, because clearly that's something I haven't actually fully dealt with. I've repressed it. And so that was a big part of my journey in getting to know myself more. Breathwork was really cool because it was guided as well through a class,
Mhm.
but you can do other things with it, I'm sure. And so, and I just listened to a podcast saying breathwork helps you untap old traumas that are stuck in the body. And I heard that this morning, and I was like, yes, that is why I was crying my eyes out the first time I did it, and I didn't know why. So I highly suggest looking into it and like really researching that kind of stuff.
Yes, I honestly have just been getting into breath work like the last couple of months. So, and it's been so good. Like I've added it into my morning routine and I think like I need to do like a guided, like deeper one.
Like you should probably look it up and go see people around where you are. I'm sure that there's like it's a thing. It's a thing
Yeah.
now. And there's a reason for it.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else like any last minute things we want to add in with this?
Oh, I mean, I think also, well, okay, here's a good question I actually have is like, so thinking about your day to day, going back to that, trauma and those limiting beliefs that you have, do you still have them now? And how does that affect you in your day to day life?
Honestly, I don't think they do. I, I hope not. I like, do they? Because I could say no, and then something could happen tomorrow, and I'm like bringing back old stuff. Like you
Yeah.
never know. You never say never. I'm always constantly learning and understanding more parts of myself because I'm doing the work. But overall, I've been feeling personally probably the happiest I've ever been, like ever, ever in my life. Like I let go of all these things that were like holding me back, expectations of other people, limiting beliefs. I've definitely moved and worked past knowing my self-worth and knowing I am worth every moment of happiness and wealth and abundance in my life, because why would I want to believe the opposite? Why? I
Mhm.
just like now I think like what's the point of feeling that way? Obviously it happens and I'm not putting down anyone else who feels that because I've been there many times. But life is short. I've had a friend of mine pass not too long ago, and that shook me to my core of grief and feelings of just like this life is fleeting. And I promised myself on that day I was going to live the life to the fullest, meaning that is a deep rooted amount of secure self-worth in myself, because I can attract anything that way. So that's where I'm at right
Yes.
now.
Wow. That's amazing. And I'm so proud of you to, take a situation that is like hard and to just go, I'm going to do this, you
Yeah.
know? I know for me, I think I've gotten through a lot of my limiting beliefs, but I know that they still trickle in there. I know that my belief around how much money I am able to make is still limiting me because I am not making the amount that I want to make. Otherwise, I would be there already. But
It's the journey.
it's a journey. I'm working through it. And I don't think we ever really stop working through them, right? If it's one, if it's gone, there will be something else. There
Yeah.
will always be something
Sorry.
else. So, that's the fun of life is always having to work through things. And I think as soon as you actually reframe your mind and go from a, just like being state to a learning state of always just learning from your mistakes and from your experiences and taking everything as a lesson to grow, things just become so much more fun.
They do. It's kind of like a game.
It's like a game, totally. Like as soon as, something doesn't go your way or something doesn't go as planned, and then instead of being like, oh fuck, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, it's like, okay, that sucks. Like, why didn't that go that way? What can I learn from it? And then moving forward, it just makes things like, ever since I started living this way, it's just been so much better. Life is just more fun. It's just overall better. You have the most beautiful sunlight glow on your face right now.
I can't even see.
It's just like you have like the what do they call it? Golden hour glow.
Oh, I've got it. Yeah, it's all me. It's not that sun or anything, but yeah.
Oh my god.
Love it. Because this discussion like brings light to me. Um,
Yeah.
but it's true. This has been great. I'm very happy with this discussion. And tune into next episode 7, whatever we're gonna talk about. I don't know yet.
Bye.